Hello, I'm Giles Brandreth. During this crisis, we've all been caring that bit more for others, whether that be a quick helping hand with the shopping or something that has a longer lasting, more profound impact.
I feel fantastic to be able to do something that I never thought I would ever have the opportunity of doing.
Make light of everything. Just try and do your best for the person because, as I say, they're not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time.
Caring for Carers is produced within government guidelines and with care by John Dash Media with the support of the Audio Content Fund.
During the height of the lockdown, we successfully applied to the Audio Content Fund to produce a series of features highlighting the work and the lives of unpaid carers and professional carers across the UK. Every story that was told was truly inspirational. There were some surprisingly recognisable faces as well in the series, including Daniel O'Donnell and Christopher Biggins, who gave their take on care. But in the main, we spoke to everyday people just like you and I, caring for relatives and friends on a day-to-day basis. There were 16 features in total, broadcast over a period of 1 month on over 100 community and small commercial radio stations. And we'll hear from two of those radio stations in just a moment. But first, here is one of our guests, Dr. Suzanne Zeedyk. Now, Suzanne is a world-renowned expert in the science of connection, and she talked to us about how important connection is in terms of good human health and well-being. That was one of the features. But here is Suzanne talking about how important the series was in her professional opinion.
Do you know, I think that the personal stories of connection and of disconnection, i.e. of the things that we struggle with and of the stories that are joyous, I think those really inspire people and they give them hope in times when times are scary. So hearing about other families and how they're connecting, say, with families in care homes right now, that matters when you also are living that reality. You need ideas and hope and creativity. Hearing about other parents who are struggling with children in settings that are homes that are too small, or children who are really fed up and over the top, and you're starting to get really fractious. And you need to hear that other parents were struggling as well, and what they did in order to help with that and calm down. And those really personal stories, I think, really help. And radio is a fantastic way of getting those out, because very often you come across them almost by accident. You didn't expect to hear them, and that makes them all the more touching and memorable.
Suzanne was one of our many Caring for Carers experts who supported our features. Howard Priestley is the station manager of Phoenix Radio in Halifax, one of the many radio stations that broadcast the features.
I think anything in this time particular that gives air to real voices, real stories, not actors playing parts, I think is always more interesting for people. People to relate to, and I think because of the content of the audio, there are so many people out there listening who can share that and actually sometimes get that support, that they're not on their own, that people are there doing the same kind of things that they do. So in one sense, I suppose, the Caring for Carers project probably didn't just give voice to one person who was interviewed, but gave voice to a lot of people with shared experiences.
Zetland FM is a successful community radio station covering Redcar and Cleveland. John Clayton is a freelance broadcaster and consultant working with the radio station. John's view is that with the limited resources available to community radio, features like this just would not be possible without the support offered by the Audio Content Fund.
I mean, I think, without an external provider, many of this kind of stuff that we're alluding to would go untouched. It just simply wouldn't happen. And indeed, in recent years, hasn't happened. So I think, from a resource perspective, as you just alluded to there, many people in local and community radio stations are either being paid something or very little, or some cases nothing, because there are volunteers, as we all know, in community radio. And I think, putting the burden on them when they've probably got a hell of a lot of other things to do, plus holding down a full-time job, et cetera, is a lot to ask. So I think taking that onus away and getting something professionally produced and pulled together, is an absolute must. And I think some of these sort of like local production houses need to be doing more of this kind of thing.
Finally, let's hear from Val Hewison. Now, Val is at the sharp end of the care community. She's the chief executive of Carers Leeds. I asked Val, what should the radio industry do to support the amazing 8.8 million carers across the UK?
I think they continue to do exactly what you guys have done, and that is to make sure that community of unpaid carers who, we at Carers Leeds, we've got carers as young as 16, and our oldest carers are in their 90s. And a lot of people really enjoy the radio. There is something really reassuring about listening to a radio station that kind of gets it and understands what we as unpaid carers or family carers are managing, dealing with, up against. And that's not always, really heavy stuff and challenges and problems. There's fun, there's lightness. We're a resilient, tough bunch.
So there you have it. That's the story of our Caring for Carers project. The team comprised of me, Gary Robinson, Dave Stankler, Hedley Finn, and our project leader, John Dash. We heard some great stories on our journey and we met some fantastically resilient people. And I'm also delighted to report that we are now some way down the line in terms of preparing for our second Caring for Carers series. Thank you for watching.